A little bit of rebounding help from Charlie Ward as well, because the guards for New York have come up short in that area.
The Knicks 23 and the Bulls 12. And some pressure from Ward. Bushler. Jordan. Now guarded by Mason. You recall in game 1, Jeff Van Gundy opened up with Anthony Mason going against Michael Jordan. And this call away from the ball, a hold against the Knicks. So the Knicks over the foul limit. And Bushler to the line. Hubert Davis called for the foul. Judd Bushler in his 6th NBA season. Out of Arizona, getting the playing time here in the early going with Tony Kukoc sidelined by the bad back.
So far, the Knicks defense outstanding, holding the Bulls to just 5 for 18 from the field. 28%, but a lot of grabbing and holding off the ball by New York, and the officials are starting to notice it.
And here's some pressure by the Bulls. They've been going with soft pressure, particularly when Mason has the ball. Just under 1 minute left in this first quarter. Ewing, yes. Knicks lead by 11. Good start for Ewing. He has 7. Ewing, the last couple of days, certainly hearing the criticism off his poor performances in the 4th quarter. Michael Jordan with the bucket, and then some words for his friend Charles Oakley.
I'm sure telling him, friend, you can't guard me out on the floor. You're fun in your eye.
25-16 Knicks. Mason and Rodman involved, and a foul on Mason, applauded by Rodman. Offensive foul called on Mason.
Well, Anthony Mason trying to set up shop in the low post, and Dennis Rodman was just acting there. There was no real contact, but just the flailing of the arms and the body, fooling referee Hugh Hollins from behind and getting the favorable whistle.
Willie Anderson checks in, and Patrick Ewing will get a rest. 7 points, 4 rebounds for Ewing. Willie Anderson has seen only spot duty since coming over from Toronto late in the season. Bulls setting up for a final shot of this first quarter. Anderson is guarding Jordan.
And it looks like Charlie Ward wants to help out. He better not leave Steve Kerr too open.
And the foul on Anderson won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. And again, Jordan to the line. Michael Jordan has accounted for 10 of the Bulls' 16 points.
Well, the officials are calling it very, very close, and watching the banging of the bodies of the big men on the outside, watching off-the-ball fouls. I assume they have been reading the papers as well and keeping up with the way this series is going and making sure they keep this thing under control. A lot of volatile players and personalities out on the floor.
And Jordan, 2 of 5 at the line. Early entrance for John Sally. Phil Jackson doing much shuffling here in this first quarter. 5 8/10 seconds to go. 8-point Knick lead. Mason slowed down, able to get it down. Davis won't count. Waved off. So after 1 here at Madison Square Garden, New York. It's the Knicks 25 and the Bulls 17. We've talked about all of this with Michael Jordan.
I think it's just a mental positioning of coaches trying to get into each other's head and get into the opposite player's head and see if it affects the way that they play. I think it's very important for us not to listen to that. I mean, all the comments and whatever is done on the basketball court is done on the basketball court, and whatever is said in the press is usually for the mental edge going into the next game. So I don't think too many of us are listening to that, and all the criticism is to try to get the referees to think one other way, and others trying to combat what the others is doing. It's more or less a soap opera, really.
And Coach Jeff Van Gundy of New York apparently upset with all that talk, but calling it psychobabble and saying, well, when you have number 23 on your team, you can do that talking because he can back it up for you.
Scottie Pippen between quarters 1 and 2, taking the ice from trainer Chip Schaefer, apparently icing the shoulder Scottie Pippen is back on the floor. Dennis Rodman with an air ball and claiming that he was fouled. Knicks are going with a small lineup as Ewing remains on the bench. They have Oakley and Mason as their big men, along with Ward, Anderson, and Davis. Second quarter just underway. Shot clock at 5. Knicks lead by 8 points. Anderson shooting for 3. And rebounded by Ward. Nice pass for Anderson. Charlie Ward provides help off the boards. He can leap and very aggressive. Steve Kerr with a nice move. So the Bulls are within 6.
I was watching the Knicks coaching staff when Willie Anderson missed that point-blank layup. They just all grimaced in pain. Those are the kind of field goals that the Knicks have to cash in on, because when you don't, generally what happens at the other end, the other team scores easily.
Oakley set up by Ward. Well, the Knicks upset with the high number of layups that they missed in game 2. Pippen off the ball fake. Stolen by Ward. Charlie Ward. And the Knicks now lead 29-19.
Careless pass by Scottie Pippen, jumping in the air and just laying it out. And the Knicks much quicker on their feet than the Bulls so far this afternoon.
2 minutes gone by in the second. Here's Pippen. Scottie Pippen going high off glass. And the Knicks now lead by 8. For Pippen, only his second field goal.
And you really don't, if you're New York, you don't mind that shot, because it was a challenged shot by Anthony Mason. He actually forced Scottie to adjust it, but he was lucky enough to get it off the glass up and in.
Open shot for Anderson. Way off. But converted by Oakley. The Knicks led by as many as 13. They had a 19-6 edge at one point. They are now up by 10, 31-21. And Rodman playing the post. Dennis Rodman.
Well, Michael Jordan told us before the game that Dennis has to be an offensive threat. They don't expect a lot of production, but they expect him to at least be a threat other than on the offensive glass. But you don't see Dennis Rodman making post moves like that very often.
Rodman is an excellent passer out of the post. That time he was able to go glass off the spin. Here's Pippen backing his way on Davis. The move, he had Davis beaten, but could not convert. No foul call. Ward passed on the 3. Up to the left hand. Charlie Ward has spun the Knicks here in the second quarter, as he did on a number of occasions against the Cavaliers. The feeling is he's a big game player going back to his football days at Florida State, and he has really come on in the playoffs. Knicks now lead by 10. Pippen getting possession. And Oakley with the rebound. And again, you can see Ward crashing the boards, and he's making a difference.
And the Knicks have an advantage now if they can get to the basket. No shot blocking for Chicago there. However, Pippen will get one occasionally. Jordan will as well, but no big people in there.
Foul called on Bushler. Timeout taken. The Knicks back at Madison Square Garden. Our cameras roaming the sidelines. Excellent actor Gary Sinise. Tennis star Boris Becker on hand. Billy Baldwin in his Knick uniform. His official John Starks jersey, always on hand, along with China Phillips, his wife. There's Gene Siskel making his way from Chicago and hearing the boos from the crowd. And Woody Allen always on hand. Soon Yi.
Well, big keys for the Knicks and why they have a 10-point lead is that they have controlled the backboards 15-8, only giving up 2 offensive rebounds to Chicago so far. They have turned it over 5 times, the Knicks have, but have only given up 3 points off those 5 turnovers.
Post-up move by Mason, and the rebound is handled by Rodman. That's 4 rebounds for Rodman. You see what the Knicks are able to do down low. This very unusual for the Knicks in particular against Chicago. Knicks lead by 10. Pippen with a nice move. Scottie Pippen able to get inside with the floater.
Well, the Bulls have made a conscious effort since Scottie Pippen came back into this ballgame to get him involved offensively. Chicago knows they're going to need offensive punch, especially without Tony